just want to thank the city of Pittsburgh for showing up today. It was a really great atmosphere, and for us to get close to 9,000 without student here really means a lot. And Louisville is obviously a great team, and they have a chance to win a national championship, and you saw today why. It was an incredible match, especially with our left side hitting, or both teams' left side hitting. I think for a lot of the match, you had 4 outside hitters hitting over 400, which is over 5 sets, pretty hard to do. I think the thing I'm most proud of is, we kind of folded at the end of the second set. We made a bunch of hitting errors and stopped and started kind of being timid, and it would have been easy for us to kind of get defeated after that, and we didn't. We just kept plugging away and finding ways to stay in plays, and the ball bounced our way at the end, and so I think it was a great win for our team, and just a great memory for the fans and the players. So thanks again, Pittsburgh.
Coach, you shook your head before you stopped, or you started talking, looking at the stat sheet. What were you shaking your head at?
Well, I just have the memory of, your brain kind of remembers plays, and I remember De Beer's hitting error, and I looked and she still hit over 400. So it was, we didn't really have the answer enough for the left sides, but we made a few big plays at the end.
Coach, at the end of that second set, it must have been pretty frustrating, but how do you keep the players in the match, and how do you just keep them going in terms of you've done it before, obviously that Georgia Tech match you guys came back. Were there any similarities you see between those two matches?
Yeah, I think in the end of the second was more just reminding them to play our style of volleyball, and if we get blocked, we get blocked. But the issue was we made a few unforced hitting errors, but then in the third set, I thought there were some times where we weren't as tough as we could be, and it took a little bit of encouraging to get them to play aggressive in that third set, and it worked. And so we just hung with it. There's nothing, no great motivational speech.
On a similar note, what do you say to them after the fourth set when you tied it and you're now heading into the fifth? What do you say to them in that moment?
At that moment, we were starting to play better, and I think so. There were some tactical things we wanted to do, but really, I think the story was probably on our bench was a lot defensively. We just felt like there was some digs that we maybe normally control that we were kind of a little too juiced on, and probably shanked some ones we could get or some loose plays. So it was more just reminding them to stay calm on the ball, even if it's hit hard. But they train every day to do this, so it's more about what they did.
Coach, the service line seems to be a big defining point between you two teams in these past few matches. Tonight you guys had a few service aces, but you held them to 11 service errors as well. How important was that stat line in terms of the end of the game? What did you see?
Yeah, we won the serve pass tonight. We did have some aces, but we only had 6 service errors, so it's a little bit stylistic. They take some more chances typically, and but when you only have 6 errors in a 5-set match, that's making them play a lot.
I have a question for Stafford. You had your record in kills today. What were you seeing today? Was it just easier? You hit through their block, or what?
I think Rachel was setting a lot of juice, and I was swinging high and hard. We've been working on that all week in practice and this season, so I feel like today was the time to show it, and it was a big game, but I came with the same mentality of practice. It's just swinging high and hard, so it worked in our favor.
Do you like to play in big games like that?
I do.
Rachel and Torrey, for both of you, I know you're focused on the game, but when you walk out to first starting lineups to be announced and you see just the amount of people there, what's going through your head? What is that like?
Yeah, when I first walk out, I take a moment, look around, appreciate our fans and the environment. And then once warm-ups start, you just got to lock in and focus on your side of the net.
I would say the same thing. It was more appreciation. They're all out for us, and I think it's a different vibe when you're at home versus away. I feel like away we take it to our advantage, and like at home it was kind of also like, or away we use it to our advantage because it's more of like, okay, like all these fans against us, but then like home they're for us. So
Yeah.
it was really nice to.
Definitely grateful.
Obviously, when you have a team, you know, like you said, you let the second set get away, and oftentimes you will see one of two reactions. One, the team that's up 2 sets will kind of play with their food before they eat it. The team that's down 2 sets that lets that second set get away, you know, may come out down 7-0, and you know everybody drive home safely. What are you sensing from yourselves? What are you sensing from them, both for the coach and the players, as you go into that third set?
I think it's human nature to be disappointed, you know, when you do some things that you don't want to do, and so it's not like we don't have those feelings. It's just trying to fight against them and trying to choose the emotion we need for the next point. And so yeah, I think there was a level of disappointment for sure, but it's we just work a lot in practice, and we talk a lot about just okay, what do we need now? Okay, I blew the last dig, but can I make this one? But yeah, we're feeling all that disappointment as well.
Rachel, you had a career high 58 assists and 19 digs. I mean, I guess what can you say about your performance, and how important is it to get a performance like this in such a big game at home?
Yeah, I mean, setting a career high in assists is really all due to the hitters. The hitters went off today, Valeria Torrey especially. But yeah, I mean, I was just playing for my teammates. I feel like that's when everything starts flowing, when we're playing for each other.
Torrey, everyone's going to talk about your offensive performance, but you also had a really solid defensive performance. I mean, 11 digs, 3 assisted blocks. I know that that's what you're capable of, but how did you build up that awareness? Like, it's just so clear that you know where it's going.
I feel like a lot of the balls in the first 2 sets, I was touching it, so I was a little frustrated because I'm like, touch it, dig it. I think then the latter sets, it was more of like, okay, I'm blocking, I'm playing defense, getting these balls up so we can make a play out of it. So I feel like it was just more of a grit towards the end.
I have a question for all 3 of you guys. What do you think this does for being a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament?
I think, well, we got 2 more to go. And Miami just had a big win the other night, so that's going to be a really tough game coming up. So it gives us an argument. I think with Wisconsin losing recently, I think we'll be in the conversation. I don't know how those will go, and frankly, I'm not that concerned about a top 4. I'm concerned about getting a good draw. What our road is to the Final Four, but only to a point, because last year, BYU, then Florida, then Wisconsin, and we still found a way to do it. And so no matter what our road is, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna play good teams.
Coach, I mean, coming into the season, you only had 1 reverse sweep your entire career. Now you have two against really big teams as well. I mean, what does it mean for you? And is that sort of surprising, or do you think you just take the win regardless?
Well, maybe I got to look at how I'm coaching the team, that we're always ending up down 0-2. I don't think much about the reverse. In fact, probably I'm on them all the time to win the first set, because I'd rather start out with up, but
Start fast.
I'd rather, yeah. So that's it. Hopefully we'll learn from it and not do it again, but unless we have to.
Coach, Olivia also had a big game tonight. I mean, when doesn't she at this point? But what did you see from her that you liked?
Well, I think, I guess what I liked from her most was she just stayed with it emotionally. I think she clearly loves big moments, but she kind of has a tendency to get a little too juiced. And she was a little up and down with hitting and blocking throughout, but stuck with it, and then was big. The 5th set and the 4th set it came up with some big blocks at the end, and so just I think that was a big game for her, with her kind of her self-talk and just able to stay in it.
I know. No, you can go.
I have a question for Fairbanks. Whenever you see someone like Stafford and Valeria going off, like on the left side, do you like try to force it to them, or not like force it to them, get it to them more often?
Yeah, I mean, like streaking the hot hitter is definitely a tactic, and I mean, I have full trust in all of the hitters, especially tonight or today. But I mean, yeah, Torrey and Valeria were getting the job done, so why not keep going to them?
Whoever feels called to speak to this, we're seeing more and more of these big atmospheres for volleyball games. How cool is it to be part of this like rise of the sport?
I mean, yeah, it's inspiring. Like, volleyball is such a cool sport. I'm glad that it's getting more recognition, just especially for younger girls and everyone too. Yeah.
And we're grateful because this whole week we were promoting the game and we have a lot of our fans coming out. So it was nice to see, and we turned out with the win. So really grateful.
Torrey, I mean, you played against Louisville twice now. What can you say about this rivalry in terms of volleyball as a whole and also the ACC? What can you say?
Really strong, rivalry strong, and I'm excited that we defended our home court. So next year, we're gonna take it there and take it here.
Coach, you talked about Louisville as a team that could win a national championship. Obviously, you beat them today. Where do you put the Panthers in relation to them, to Nebraska, to Stanford?
Yeah, I think you can throw probably about 5 more teams in that could do it. I think this year, I really couldn't tell you who the favorite is. I watch all these teams on TV, and I think we could beat them. And but in my mind, there's probably a group of 8 to 10 that have a chance. Depending on how well they're playing at the end.
And then following up on Abby's question, we have seen greater and greater environments for volleyball. At the same time, you look at very exciting soccer matches yesterday that were all relegated to ESPN Plus, so that ESPN can rerun Paul Feinbaum and Pat McAfee. For all 3 of you, are you still somewhat disappointed that yes, we have come a ways, but we seemingly still have a long way to go?
I think the TV is going to fall, but yes, I am disappointed. But I think we need to have more volleyball, like on major channels. This year the selection show will be on. I think it's on ESPN. The finals is on ABC. Is that right? So there are some things happening. But yeah, it has to be on all the time for it to continue to grow. And so it is happening, but it's probably slower than we'd like.
Last question for Coach Fisher and student athletes.
Coach, I mean, obviously you talk about Miami coming up. I mean, they just beat Georgia Tech pretty handily as well. I mean, what can you say about the state of the ACC, and is this maybe the best ACC you've ever been a part of so far?
Yes, and it wasn't like our game against them was easy, at their place. And so what I'll say about the ACC is, all of the top teams right now return virtually their starting lineups, and we're adding Stanford and Cal and SMU. So I truly believe next year we're going to be the strongest volleyball conference, and we're pretty close to it right now. So what does that mean? That means that we're well prepared when we go into the tournament.
Thank you.